Kai died at age 9 holding a dragon scale. Not because he was brave, not because he was chosen, because everyone else had already run. The strange part was not that the dragon ignored him. The strange part was that when the dragon's scale touched his palm and cracked apart into dust, something inside Kai's chest opened like a door that had always been there. He did not know it yet, but he had just absorbed his first piece of the world. Kai was born into the Ashborn Clan, one of the oldest hunter bloodlines in the eastern continent. Every member of the Ashborn Clan manifested mana before their 5th birthday. Blue flames for some, silver lightning for others. His older brother Marcus had awakened the rarest ability in 3 generations, the power to collapse space itself into a single crushing point. Kai awakened nothing. Not a flicker, not a spark, not even the faint warmth that the youngest children usually felt on their first awakening day. The clan elders watched in silence. His father did not speak for 3 days. By the time Kai was 7, the decision had already been made. He would live in the clan compound, quiet and invisible, and he would spend his life watching everyone around him become something he could never be. The dragon attack happened on a Tuesday. A Class S dungeon fracture tore open 3 kilometers east of the clan compound. The Ashborn Clan mobilized immediately. Hunters activated barriers. Battle formations locked into place. His brother Marcus led the charge. He followed the battle from a distance, hiding behind collapsed ruins, watching as his clan fought a creature that shook the ground with every step it took. It was not the largest dragon the continent had ever seen, but it was wounded, and it was furious, and it did not care who it crushed. And then the line broke. A single tail swipe scattered an entire formation. 3 senior hunters went down. Everyone fell back. Kai didn't fall back. He stepped forward. Not because he had a plan, not because he had power. He stepped forward because the dragon had cornered a child, a girl no older than 5 who had wandered out during the chaos and was now frozen in place, too terrified to move. Kai grabbed her. He ran. He got her clear, but the dragon turned, and its claw came down. Kai raised his arms. He does not remember what happened next. He only remembers the scale breaking apart in his hands, the heat, the pressure, and then a sound inside his body like a cord. He woke up in the clan infirmary 4 days later. The dragon was dead. Marcus had recovered enough mana to finish it. The crisis was over. The healer who examined Kai after he woke confirmed that he had no mana channels, no mana circuits, no awakened ability. But there was something else. A strange, perfectly formed cavity where mana would normally flow, except it was not empty. It was full of something dense and hot and ancient that the healer could not name. She called it a contamination. She told the elders. The elders called it an anomaly. Kai called it the thing that had been waiting. 3 weeks after he woke up, he picked up a chunk of iron ore from the compound forge because one of the workers had dropped it. His fingers closed around it, and it dissolved, not into his hand, into him, into that hollow space, like water into dry ground. He felt it happen. He felt the iron settle inside him, and then slowly, he felt his body begin to change. His skin did not turn gray. His bones did not turn metallic. But when the blacksmith accidentally brought a hammer down on Kai's forearm, the hammer cracked. Kai did not. He spent the next 6 months testing, quietly, systematically, with a discipline no one expected from the boy the clan had already written off. He learned 3 things. First, he could absorb almost any physical material he touched for long enough. Stone, metal, plant fiber, the scale of smaller monsters. Second, each material changed him. Not visibly, internally. His bones became denser. His skin became harder. His muscles reorganized in ways that gave him speed and strength that no one without mana should have been able to produce. Third, the absorption had a limit. If he pushed too fast, too much, the hollow space inside him would pressure from within and he would collapse in pain. He had to pace himself. Give each material time to integrate. Let his body become what it was becoming. He thought about what he might become if he could absorb something that powerful again. He was 13 when the clan officially registered him as a non-combatant. He was 13 and a half when a dungeon scout discovered a Class B dungeon fracture 4 kilometers from the compound, and the junior hunters were assembled for a training exercise. Kai was not invited. He went anyway. He told them he was there to carry supplies. No one questioned it. The dungeon was a layered stone labyrinth, 3 levels deep, populated by iron-skinned basilisks, creatures coated in a mineral exoskeleton that was nearly impenetrable. Junior hunters with mid-tier mana abilities were struggling on the first level. Kai walked through the second level alone. He moved through the basilisks, not by overpowering them, but by outlasting them. Every time one bit him, it got a mouthful of something it could not break through. Every time one slammed into him, it rebounded. When they were dazed, he grabbed them and absorbed them. He felt the basilisk exoskeleton integrate into his own skeletal structure. He felt his base physical defense double in under a minute. He cleared the second level in 43 minutes. The junior hunters on level 1 were still struggling when he came back up. No one saw him come back up. He picked up a supply crate and carried it to the staging area like nothing had happened. But one person had noticed. She was standing near the dungeon entrance when he emerged. Dark eyes, short silver hair, a combat rank insignia on her collar that placed her 3 full tiers. Her name was Sarah. She was the youngest A-rank hunter the Eastern Continent had produced in 40 years. She looked at Kai for a long moment. Then she said, "What did you absorb down there?" Kai did not answer. She smiled, like she had already figured it out. Everything changed the week after that. Sarah did not report what she had seen. She did something Kai had not expected. She came to find him. She found him in the compound storage room, doing what he always did in private. She watched him for a full minute before she said anything. "You have an absorption constitution," she said. "It is not an ability. It is not a skill. It is something older, something the system does not have a category for yet." She sat down across from him. "I have spent 4 years researching it," she said, "because I thought I was the only one who had ever read about it. The last recorded case was 300 years ago. A man who absorbed a god-tier dungeon boss at the peak of its power and briefly became something the continent could not classify." Kai stared at her. "What happened to him?" he asked. Sarah was quiet for a moment. "He became too much," she said. "He absorbed more than his body could integrate. He did not pace himself." She looked at Kai's hands, at the faint sheen his skin had developed, at the way the chain he had been holding had left a shallow impression in his fingers that was already filling back in. "But you already know to pace yourself," she said. "Don't you?" It was not a question. Kai nodded once. Sarah stood up. "Then we have work to do," she said. The training that followed was nothing like what the Ashborn Clan had ever offered him. Sarah did not teach him mana techniques. She taught him material theory, how to identify which substances his body could integrate most efficiently, how to sequence absorption for maximum structural benefit, how to recognize when his hollow space was approaching critical pressure, and how to release excess density before it tore him apart from the inside. She also brought him things to absorb. Dungeon cores from dissolved B-rank creatures, fragments of ancient weapons recovered from collapsed labyrinths, a piece of meteorite iron that had been sitting in a research vault for 60 years, Kai absorbed them one by one. His body changed with each one. Not dramatically, not overnight, but cumulatively, visibly, undeniably. At 14, his physical defense measured at low A rank despite having no mana. At 15, his physical strength ranked higher than any non-awaken human on record. At 15 and a half, he absorbed a fragment of an ancient golem core that Sarah had retrieved from a sealed vault. His body did not just get harder, it started producing something, faintly. Barely detectable, but real. Sarah had the measurement run 4 times before she believed it. Dense energy, not mana, not ki, not any of the classified elemental forces. Something older, something the continent had not seen in 300 years. The clan elders, when they finally noticed, called it a contamination again. Sarah called it the beginning. Kai was 16 when the Class S dungeon fracture opened, not 3 kilometers away this time, inside the clan compound. The ground cracked open in the center of the training yard at dawn. Senior hunters scrambled, barriers activated. His brother Marcus was already in position before the first creature emerged. What emerged was not a creature. It was a primordial construct, a dungeon entity so rare that most hunters had only ever read about them in theory texts. A being made entirely of condensed dungeon energy, roughly humanoid in shape, 30 meters tall, with no physical body to wound and no mana to disrupt. Marcus's void compression did nothing. Every technique the Ashborn Clan deployed dissolved on contact. The primordial construct moved through the compound like weather, and then it stopped. It turned, slowly, toward the storage room at the edge of the compound where Kai was standing in the doorway watching. It could sense ancient energy inside his body, the absorbed materials, the hollow space that had spent 7 years filling up with everything the world was made of. It moved toward him. Everyone fell back. Kai did not fall back. He pressed both hands flat against the construct's surface, and he absorbed, not fast, not recklessly. He had learned to pace himself. He drew it in slowly, steadily, the way he had learned to take in every material since that first dragon scale cracked open in his 9-year-old hands. The construct shrank. When it was over, Kai stood alone in the center of the training yard. His clothing had dissolved. His skin was luminescent. The energy inside him was no longer hollow. It was full, completely, dangerously, magnificently full. He looked down at his hands. He could feel it. The thing that had happened when he absorbed the construct. The thing that had not finished happening yet. Something in his body had crossed a threshold, not into mana, not into any known classification, into something the continent had not produced in 300 years. The clan elders stood at the edge of the yard in silence. His father took one step forward and stopped. Kai looked up at the sky. Then a sound reached him from somewhere deep inside the hollow space that was no longer hollow. A sound like a system that had been waiting a very long time, finally deciding to speak. A message formed, not visual, not audible. Something felt directly in the center of his chest. Absorption, threshold, reached. Constitution, reclassification in progress. Classification, Devourer. Rank, unregistered. Next integration, target detected. Kai breathed out slowly. He looked at Sarah, who was standing 20 meters away, with her arms crossed, and the look on her face of someone who had been right about something for a very long time. She said, "Ready?" Kai said, "What is the next integration target?" Sarah unfolded her arms. She held up a small black case. Inside it, visible through the transparent lid, was a single curved scale. Ancient, dense, radiating energy that made the air around it warp slightly. A dragon scale, but not just any dragon. The scale of the primordial dragon, the oldest creature on the continent, the being that had slept beneath the eastern mountain range for 3 centuries, the creature that every hunter organization had agreed. Kai closed his eyes. He could feel it, something vast and ancient stirring beneath 300 meters of bedrock. Something that had been waiting for a devourer to finally appear again after 3 centuries. Sarah handed him the case. The scale pulsed in his hands, and the ground beneath the compound shook.